The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a number of our radio affiliates here in Lancaster and beyond. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. Our executive producer, Kelly Roberts, JT Burcham, Fairfield Christian Academy, the group that puts this program together each and every week behind the scenes, but they do a terrific job. Kelly lines up our guests, gets some good questions together, and really has brought the program to a new level in the last 6 or 7 months. Back by popular demand is Lieutenant Tim Voris, our Detective Bureau Commander. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, sir.
We've got a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of stuff, yes, sir.
And let's start. You're the Detective Bureau Commander. What are your responsibilities then within the Detective Bureau?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to serve the residents of Fairfield County. It's my 29th year working for the Sheriff's Office. And you're the third sheriff that I've worked for, and I'm very proud to work for you. We've got a great sheriff's office, and very humbled by the detectives that I work with every day. Very talented group of young men and women that do a great job, and a lot of what they do takes a little supervision because they're just really doing a good job up there.
And so you're the senior guy within the sheriff's office right now?
Well, Sergeant Dave Savage, good retirement for him. He just retired last week.
Right.
And so my best to him, and that moved me into that next spot, that last role there to fulfill. So, but it's a privilege to work at the Sheriff's Office and live and work and raise a family in our county and serve the residents and work for you.
So, Detective Bureau Commander, what are some of your responsibilities?
Well, a lot of what I do, like I said, is to work through the prosecutor's office. We've got a great relationship with Mr. Marks' office. I've known Greg for a long time. When I first became a detective back in the early 80s, he was the assistant prosecutor under Mr. Landefeld. And actually, he's the second prosecutor I've worked for. And we were able to work through a lot of cases, seen a lot of good things, got a lot of experience working with him, and he's done a good job moving to that next level of prosecutor. So his relationship with ours has tremendously grown. And we're moving to improve things through a new computer matrix system.
Okay.
So a lot of what I try to do is just manipulate the information from our detectives will investigate the crimes that are happening, present all their information and everything, and then assist them with their case from our office, whether it's ideas, suggestions, through the process at the prosecutor's office to filing charges and getting a conviction in that case.
How do you determine which cases are going to be assigned to a detective? Because needless to say, we get a lot of crimes that come in, whether it's a vandalism to a mailbox, whether it's a petty theft, whether it's an assault. How do you make some determinations on, because we only have a limited number of detectives, we have a lot of things coming in, on who is going to be assigned to, or what cases are going to actually be investigated, not by the deputies in the neighborhood, but by a detective?
Right. A lot of what we do is a solvability factor. We look at the cases that are coming in every day. Lieutenant Alex Lape and I discuss regularly what cases are being reported in the county, what areas, the type of those crimes are happening, and we see what's best suited for us as an agency to work to try to enforce and stop some of the crime that's going on. Oftentimes we'll have a series of car break-ins in a neighborhood, and oftentimes that patrol officer will follow back up on that area, and we may investigate a burglary in that same area, but that patrol officer will help support us in the area of going door to door and doing some follow-ups and things like that. As an example, yesterday we had two detectives out. T.J. Strawn, one of our deputies who was working for Job and Family Services, was out working a warrant yesterday, happened to run across a truck that we were looking for out of burglaries, made a traffic stop, made an arrest out of that. So we apprehended two people that were involved in a series of burglaries in the county, and we were able to recover some stolen property last night. So that information we pass back and forth, and we get out there so our officers are looking for to try to prevent further crimes from these people.
So there's a lot more involved than just you take a report and then we assign it and go on.
Right.
What's probably one of the most common types of investigations that the Detective Bureau does?
Normally our felonies are our typical investigation. Now we'll do some different
I mean,
crimes.
would it be burglaries, assaults?
Burglaries, serious type nature crimes, breaking and enterings,
Okay.
serious felonies that we'll look at and investigate those. A lot of situations happen, like we have investigators that will work with Franklin County. We had a 22-year-old guy from Florida that was having communications with a resident who was 15 years old. And this guy came from Florida up here to Fairfield County to pick up the 15-year-old. And last week our detectives, along with Franklin County Sheriff's detectives, did a nice job with an internet crime case and made the apprehension of the guy in our county trying to pick this kid up.
Wow. In fact, it was going to be at an elementary school, wasn't it, if I remember correctly?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So if you think back on when you started 29 years ago to today, what are some of the changes as far as the technology that we've seen within law enforcement or within the Detective Bureau?
Yeah, the biggest thing I think is communication. The communication and social media, the way we handle crime scenes, the way that evidence is processed. And when you talk about DNA, you talk about fingerprints, you talk about preservation of evidence and things like that, we do a lot more of that today. And it's more sophisticated, more training, more science is involved in it. It's always been who, what, where, when, and why, and how did that happen.
Right.
We take a lot more steps than that with a case to find out the specifics of it. Normal examples of some cases in the past that I've investigated that I thought were kind of really important to get solved, and one of them was back in the early 80s, we had a homicide of a gentleman that lived out into the county, and he had several guns stolen, and it was investigated for about 14 years throughout changes. I mean, I had been in the
Right.
Detective Bureau, I'd left, went to supervision, I came back a little bit later, and when I came back as a supervisor, it gave me more highlight to look at some of the areas that, might improve upon. And we had a new detective come into the Detective Bureau at the time. His name is Andy Roberts. And Andy did a really great job looking and rereading that case file. And he came to me one day and he says, "Hey, Lieutenant, I got a couple suggestions here. What do you think about this?" So through some further investigation and stuff, we were able to solve a 14-year-old murder.
Wow.
And he did a really nice job with that. He's one of our best interviewers that we have in the Detective Bureau, and he's able to extract that information and does a good job with it.
So now, do you have certain detectives that are trained to do certain investigations that are and I've said this many times, because we don't have a lot of detectives like they might have in a big city where you have one detective, all they do is investigate homicides, or another detective robberies or bad checks. But here our guys have to know how to investigate all of them. But do you have certain detectives that have been trained in ways to investigate specific types of criminal crimes?
Well, and there again, I'm humbled to be surrounded by detectives that do a really great job every day. They have unique talents in what they do, and Andy has been a great interviewer for a number of years. He was our Detective of the Year last year, did a really nice job interviewing some cases. We had a murder trial with Scott Farringer, and he spent about 8 hours on the stand during the course of that trial, but was convicted of 14 years of murdering his girlfriend and wife at the time,
right,
in Fairfield Beach. And he did a really great job, as well as Jim Nicoya.
Okay.
Jim is another great detective, but Jim's got some expertise in computers and telephones, in training that he can extract from cell phones a lot of great information. And really is a great resource. And I find that people, when they like what they're doing, they're going to be successful in it. they're going to like doing some of those things that they like to do, and he does a really good job with it. Brian's our CVSA operator.
Brian Kohler.
Brian Kohler, computer voice stress analogist.
Okay.
He is able to look at a statement, listen to it, do a couple computer different things on it, and find out whether they're being truthful or not through that statement, and has a great love and likes investigating burglaries and different things, and really does a great job in putting that information together and getting it to the prosecutor's office to get some positive results with that. They all have uniquely different personalities and talents that they work through every day. And Kelly Stats, Kelly been around a long time, does a great job for us. But to see her sit down with a young person or a parent and explain to them some of the things that's going on, she has a great way of getting across to people and information to help them with their problem, whatever it might be, or their crime, to get that through. So she's really good with young people that I've seen, and has that great ability to interact with people. Jason Meadows is our new detective up there. He's probably the youngest that we've had. Although he's had several years on patrol, he does a good job, been part of our mounted unit patrol, and really is good in communications with people and has really done a good job. He's gone to some training lately where we've sent him to some computer forensic classes, and learning how to adjust some computer technology and extracting that. And he's been working with Jim a lot to get that information and stuff. So he's really done a good job, and they've all got unique talents, and they're really good at special things, I think.
Before we conclude, let's just give some practical information to our viewers and listeners. If they come home and maybe their home's been broken into, what are some things they may want to do, and what are some things they probably don't want to do?
Well, what we always recommend is that before they come home and find their house broken into, they take some steps to take pictures of their items that they have in their home.
Okay.
Make sure that they're taking care of lighting on their home. Make sure they're talking to a trusted neighbor that's going to watch for their home while they're gone. Do the things that they need to prepare themselves while they are gone. And then if something does happen and they come back and find their house broken into, give us a call at the sheriff's office. We'll send a deputy out to take the report on it, and then we'll process, take fingerprints, photographs, do everything we can, try to find who's responsible for that.
Yeah, and I often try to remind people, if they come home and find their house broken into, go ahead and you may even want to leave the house, because there's no guarantee that they may not still be in the house. Give us a call, and certainly don't disturb things. Don't start going through things until we've had an opportunity to look, fingerprint, and do those kind of things.
Yeah, and we've talked over the years that oftentimes people in this last group that we just arrested, they're going to the door, they're knocking at the door. If nobody answers the door, then they're stealing a mower, they're stealing a trailer, something out of the yard, and things like that. So oftentimes our suspects are coming to find out if anybody's home. And the ones that scare me the most are the ones that come in late night or early in the morning, because the ones that are coming in during the day, they don't want confrontation. They don't want to see somebody. They don't want to meet anybody. But the ones coming in at night, you really got to be attentive to those things and take care of your home and your property.
Lieutenant Tim Voris, we're out of time. Do appreciate you joining us the last couple weeks. We'll have you back again to kind of update us on things in the Detective Bureau. Again, Senior Deputy Lieutenant Tim Voris, 29 years of great service with the Sheriff's Office, always does a great job on these interviews and is certainly dedicated to our community. Until next week, same time, same place. God bless, and we'll see you right here.
When it comes to choosing a school, parents who want the best education for their students look for academic excellence, skilled teachers, a safe school that encourages their values. Students want a school with competitive athletics, unique opportunities, and friendships that last a lifetime. Fairfield Christian Academy, the place where parents and students agree. Enrolling now at fairfieldchristianacademy.com.